Hello. Oh. Hello. Remember that thing where you mute your chat, mute your stream before you start streaming? That thing. Right there. Oh well. So, what's today going to be? Apart from straightening my shirt out because, oh my god, look at this. What the hell is up with this? Right. And now I'm going to put the open broadcasting thing up so I can actually see what I'm doing, as opposed to what I was doing about 13 seconds ago. Let's see.
Oh, apparently there's an app thing called Spotlight you can download on the dashboard.
Right. The initial plan for today was going to be
because normally all the Mass Effect.
The initial plan for today was going to be get ourselves a 8-player tournament, and we did have potential for people to to turn up, but unfortunately, not enough people have shown up. So the plan at the moment, I think, is to turn it into a King of the Hill and use the people we have, because we do have 6, and that's a decent number. It's not quite enough for a proper tournament because I don't want to start with the semis, you know? You don't want to start with like that thing that's right before the finals. So just see if we can get enough people in. We'll get ourselves a map, we'll get ourselves a whole bunch of people, and then we'll do ourselves a King of the Hill tournament. And then shortly after the King of the Hill tournament, which is usually the way we start this Monday session, is words. Yeah, we're going to do the King of the Hill, and then we'll move from that into a mandatory cheese match. I'll let the people in the chat room argue about precisely which cheese it's going to be. Oh, maybe we've got one more person. Okay. Oh, it looks like we might have. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually, given that we can actually do this now. No. Best of one. We're going to do with a relatively short one, best of one until until the next round, and then we'll go with best of 3s, and I'll try and cast as many of them as I can in the round of 4. So I'm just going to announce people's pairings. And then I'm probably going to watch the Great Paz Kingdom match, is going to be the first one. Oh no, we haven't got him either. Ah. He said he can't make it. Curse him.
It's not even that. There's no road in Sheffield that's not covered in potholes. Between that and the fact that it's just awful. It's the only place that I've ever had motion sickness. I never have it normally. My dad was saying that Sheffield...
No, wait.
Like Oxford hates it.
Okay.
Oxford makes it very clear straight up and inspires you that if you enter, you are in some hell of a time. Sheffield pretends it likes you.
Right, we've scraped enough people to get this going. Okay. First round. Great Powers versus Kingdom. Great Powers versus Kingdom. Lotney versus Tryon. Savo. Okay, and then Harbinger by himself. So, we're going to go with the idea of seeing whether people actually want me to cast all the games, because the first round's going to be a best of one. What we'll do is we'll get ourselves a round of 8 going. And once we've done that, we'll get ourselves a best of 1 for the round of 8, best of 3 for the round of 4 for the semis, and then for the finals, we'll either go for a best of 3 or a best of 5.
Hey, there you go. Basically, if you point your phone at the box like this, it says to the next. Hey. It turns out this slot passing doesn't work if you try to select the left to go like this at the console.
I should probably show you what I'm actually typing in this window just to make.
Right.
Okay, what we're gonna, yeah, that's basically the plan. Right, so at the moment we're just going to sort out some of the details. Apologies for the slightly sluggish nature of this, but we've barely got enough people to join in. Oh wow, we've got more people in the chat than we normally do. I think what we'll do is we'll start off with it's Great Powers versus Kingdom, isn't it? Starting at the top, so Great Powers. And if we can get Great Powers Kingdom, that should be an interesting start to the game. Interesting start to the tournament. Should be a lot of fun. And at some point I really need to work out whether this is actually doing my ears damage. Oof. Oh god, someone in the chat can see my face! Ugh. Oh well, guess we'll have to live with that. We have ourselves a bit of a kingdom thing going on. Right, let's set this up. I'm trying to remember how you actually choose first map in these things. Also, Great Powers needs to exist for this to happen. Let's see if we can get him in. Ah. In that case, what we'll do is we'll start with Daybreak. Daybreak Ladder Edition, 1v1 faster. Ah, crap. Oh wow, that's special. Just having one of those random things where I've, instead of creating a custom game, I've somehow managed to join one instead. This is going to take me a moment. Oh well, I'll get it right the second time. It's not like I'm pro or anything. Oh, actually, I'm really not. It's one of the benefits of being me. Unfortunately, this Sharky Zerg is going to have to go without his match on Daybreak because I can't afford to spend 10 minutes beating the hell out of him and dying before I have to do things like, you know, the tournament that I've just spent an hour and a half trying to organise. Right. Okay, let's create the game on Daybreak instead of screwing up. Daybreak Ladder Edition, here we go. So the first game is going to be Great Paz, assuming Great Paz is even available. And then we're going to invite Kingdom also. I actually have to DQ Great Paz if he doesn't show up after a little while. Great Paz, if you're watching, get in! Okay, I'm gonna have to close some of these windows because I've got far too many of the damn things open. And thus we find out why Gandalf makes a terrifying examiner. Come on, Great Paz, where are you? Lotney versus Tryon.
On tram? Including walking uphill, I tend to say it's half an hour from work.
I mean, like sorry, going from here to the uni.
On
the tram.
Lotney versus Tryon.
Half an hour including time to walk down to the tram stop. So I tend to leave 40 minutes.
This is so good. Like, the action, the thrillingness. Yeah, Great Paz declines the lobby invitation. What we'll do is we'll redo this one. Okay. Apparently Tryon. Okay, apparently Great Paz, Tryon versus Lotney is already happening. Oh well, I guess we'll have to worry about it later. Come on, Great Paz, you're letting me down. So Savo and Tordir, are you here?
Well, no, it's a general walking centre, but they will refer people to the right places. Even if you've not got a sort of GP. I just have heard of that because a lot of the specialist people who make that kind of thing use it.
But then again, they can't register with
They can't register with the GP, but that's the point is, you know, if you're dealing with people who, you know,
Okay.
you can't just walk in. I might be misremembering this, but...
Why, thank you. I've just been told I look like Day 9. That's actually the nicest thing anyone said to me in a very long time.
Unless they've changed drastically, they're pretty nice.
Frankly, there's an awful lot of things that I look like.
I have to go there pretty regularly when I've got a bit on the leg. You know they excavated. It was like a second by
You know what?
Until in the end, I was just like, okay, no, I'm limping with everything.
You know what? I'm really tempted to kill the stream until I can get something worth showing, because at the moment it's just me trying to organise things.
The nurse seemed really horrible, and then I realised, no, she was just really
Yeah, okay. You know what? Apparently Pig isn't up for it. So, who's actually in the chat? Who's actually there? Steve is alive! Excellent. If we can get... Savo. Huh.
So I had to go back in every week to get it changed. And yeah, they were really nice there. I had a bunch of different people.
Oh. My mic is too close to the keyboard. The problem is there's not a lot I can do about that at the moment. It's sort of like... I can try and move it further away. It's where I revealed that secretly I also play Crisis. Let's see, how does that sound? It's slightly further away. I can't see it making that much of a difference. Oh, yeah. How do I do that?
One main thing about the mini health service is they've got a lot of people coming in with very sensible stuff. But they've also got a lot of people coming in with complete bullshit.
Okay, I have a mod in my chat.
It tends to be more sort of jaded, as it were, you know, more kind of seen it all.
My doctor is Dr. Jakubovic, but I've only seen him once. Because I saw when I was meant to go back, but I got the day wrong. Like, so I went in on the same day as the previous week, the next week, but it was actually meant to be the day before.
Right.
And you think that I would have figured
Okay.
immediately, but I put my details into the register and it turns out that someone with the same birthday as me.
And the
So at the same time, with the same
No. 1, 2.
So yeah, that's gonna get.
So I sat there for ages, and it went through a bunch of people, and I went,
Okay. And I'm having one of my players sorting out the setting up of the level. That's pretty good.
So it's overlapped.
Oh man,
No, I got the day wrong.
let's get it all in there.
It's just that somebody else
Ah,
happened to have exactly the same login details.
I'm not playing against you, Tordeer. I want you to set it up as our.
Yeah, I know.
At the moment, looks like I'm playing. It's not good. Oh well.
I mean, the other
He's gonna need to get me out.
view is they have far too many people to deal with from the doctors they've got.
Okay.
You know, they're
And as a
usually
result,
understaffed.
it makes their doctors overworked and sympathetic.
Exactly. Yeah. I say I think it's partly that. It's partly because they get a lot of people coming to them with stuff that they don't really need to see a doctor about, but they've just got here and there.
Right. That's not great. Still waiting for people to get into chat. Again, it's sort of.
Because best will in the world, that shit right you down for a while. It's, that's what we want to say. You can, well, I don't bother with social work, is you can have good social work.
Let's get this party started. I am a spectator, which means I can't actually talk to the players in game. Whatever.
But you don't really get that.
But should be good.
Still good or you burn out, and they just become bitter and, you know, jaded.
I have no idea whether you have that epic box next to your name. Let's find out. Get rid of this.
That's why she jumped between nursing and teaching all the time, you know, so not stuck in the same.
Right. Hopefully. Right, so hopefully Torde's going to come back from getting himself some water shortly, and then we can actually get started. Oh my god. Gotta calm down. Everything will be fine. And hopefully at some point in the non-too-distant future, I'll find out who won between Lotney and Tryon.
Did you guys see the because it's a particularly good one.
Oh wow, it looks like we might be able to do this thing. Bam! And actually we have people in the chat that I've never seen there before.
Enjoying a carrot.
Welcome. Please feel free to click that follow button. At some point, if there's a subscribe button, please click that too. I'm really tempted to say he should just start, and if Sawo is not ready, the Sawo is not ready.
Doesn't he look like a real bunny? It looks like a soft toy.
Oh man. This is one of those things I can work on in future. It's that feeling you get when you look in a paper in a drawer for a piece of paper and come up with sweets.
Yes, because what you really need right now is another social network.
Yes. And I just can't be sustained by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. I need more.
That way lies man.
Charlie, I'm watching the players' races.
At some point somebody needs to tell Grape Has who he's playing. He's playing Kingdom. If people see him in the chat somewhere, let him know. But we, on the other hand, have an epic PvZ on Daybreak to cast. And we'll see how it goes. At the moment we're sticking to the basic ladder maps because why the hell not? And in the bottom left, spawning as the blue Protoss, Tordir, mighty warrior of his race. And in the top right, representing the swarm, representing all of his little Zergling buddies, Savo. I'm assuming it's Savo. I may have been saying it wrong all this time because Sawo is, it's alright. But my pronunciation may need some work. Obviously this being the start of the game, we'll talk about the sort of thing that we'd expect from both sides.
Yes,
We need to be able to tell Sawo it's a regular game. Right. Damn it. I have to tell Tordir as well. Yeah. Well, they'll play as a random, as a thing game. We have ourselves... Oh, probably what looking like a Forge Fast expand from our Protoss player, which I believe is the standard of the day. And we have ourselves an a scouting drone plus an Overlord scout coming out for our Zergy buddy, who hasn't made himself a pool, so I imagine we'll probably end up seeing a standard 14 thing out of him. The question is, does he go hatch before or pool first? Hatch before pool or 14 pool first? I guess we'll see. I'm not certain that's... I think that's tight. It might not be. We'll have to see what happens. I suspect we'll find out when this drone leaves, because if it leaves and goes straight through that gap, well, no, it's not tight. Forge Fast Expand probably coming down from the Protoss player because, hey, why not? What's the Zerg going to do? Attack you when you've got probes? Probes? They're amazing! Actually, I did see, like, last Monday, I think it was, we had some random games, and one of our players did, in fact, defend himself against 2 rushes of Zerglings with nothing but probes, which is quite awesome. Bad position to be in, but he managed to... Hello! I see Tordir putting down a pylon behind his opponent's base, and his opponent cannot see it. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to turn into something brutal and unpleasant. And he's not expanding, so his opponent should really be sensing something's going wrong here. Unfortunately, he's got enough minerals to put down that expansion, so he could hide the fact that he's got a pylon in his opponent's base. Or he is just chasing that worker away, the worker going in to see that he doesn't have a natural, and something's got to be ticking there, something's got to be saying something is wrong here, he doesn't have a gateway, he doesn't have anything, and now he can almost certainly see... Oh no, he still can't see the cannon! The vision range on buildings is awful! My god, man. He's going to see it shortly, though. The question is, how fast before the... Yep, the cannon's going to finish before, like way before, and he's going to start getting shot. And he now knows he's being attacked by photon cannons, 2 of them, from his opponent's base. The problem is, he needs to cancel that. Oh, and he manages to get away with the scouting worker. Question is, what's he going to do now? His drone is being chased out of the Protoss base and will almost certainly die, because there's no way it's getting past that cannon. Even if he does run away, he's not... Oh, and the wall is tight because he wasn't going to try and go through that gap. Protoss has a random drone down here. Unfortunately for Zerg, he needs to have stuff up in order to be able to take out that pylon and save his natural. We know he can still put the natural down because the cannon fit in there anyway, but yeah, Protoss having walled himself in Zerg's position, he's expanded to his 4th, I believe it is, instead of his natural, and it will actually do him some good because at this point his opponent can't see his ramp and thus doesn't know if he's doing it. He is bringing in a probe, and our Zerg player is going to need a couple of Zerglings at least just to get rid of his scouts, because at the moment there is nothing stopping the Protoss from scouting his base, seeing what's up, and then just going and killing him with massed attack because he's got nothing to defend himself with. Roach Warren going down, so he looks like he's... Oh, the question is, has the Protoss seen it? Yes, he's seen the Roach Warren go down. I'm being told that actually that is in fact the 6th base because everything else is preferable. But yeah, he's actually... Oh, and there comes the creep. There comes the probe. Will he be able to build anything close enough to it before the creep gets far enough away? He can definitely harass that worker, and he can definitely build himself a cannon behind the mineral line. The question is, will it do any good? I'm not convinced it will at this point, but hey, he's still got this contain here. And he's still basically not building... Oh, he's finally building some Zerglings, but this is very, very late, and the Protoss has the capacity to expand at this point with no threat to himself at all. Which at this point is the last thing Zerg needs, because ideally, as far as I'm aware, you need to actually have more bases than your Zerg opponent. Sorry, than your Protoss opponent. If you're playing Zerg, you need to have more bases. Otherwise, you end up being really inefficient and not having enough stuff. 7 roaches coming out for the Zerg player. If he pushes with 7 roaches now, he can probably just bust through the front of his opponent. And hopefully he can do it before the warp in happens behind these cannons, because it will. It's a brilliant place to warp in and then just walk up the ramp. Question is he going to go for the cannons? If he goes for the cannons, what difference will it make to Protoss? Virtually nothing, actually. I mean, the only real damage he can do with this lot now is attack, and hope that he can bust through and attack his opponent's front. Because at the moment he doesn't actually have that much stuff. And okay, Zerg doesn't necessarily know that. What does he actually see at this point? He's seen the buildings, he's seen most of the wall in, and he's got that Overlord in a clutch place for seeing stuff going out. But his opponent doesn't work like that, and he knows that. So we'll have to see what happens. Second base coming down, Spinecrawler for dat defense. Roaches and Lings streaming across the map. There we go. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to these Lings, because at this point they're not doing an awful lot, and if Protoss decides to warp in a bunch of stuff, like here, and just attack with them, there's not a lot he's going to be able to do. This is, however, a nasty looking force that will make mincemeat of the Protoss if they can get in range. At this point, however, too many cannons. I suspect Protoss saw this coming, and Zerg is going to have a nasty defeat if he doesn't pull back, or at least if he doesn't bunch up. He might be able to do something fun, like taking out that pylon and taking down both of those cannons at once. If he can come in from that angle, yep, he sees the pylon. If he's got any sense, he'll kill the pylon first. Nope, he's going for that. Oh. Not terrible force fields. Force fields that don't trap an awful lot. He's now seen that there's only one pylon powering both those cannons, so he's going to take that out first, and the Void Ray makes an appearance on the field. I had the supply tab up, and I really should have seen that coming. At this point, Zerg's in a tricky position because he doesn't have much in the way of anti-air. He's got his queens, and he's got a second base, but he doesn't have any spores. Oh, yep, down they go. The question is, are they going to show up in time to save that queen? I can't remember whether... I think a queen loses to a fully charged Void Ray. But he needs to kill that queen before the Spore Crawler develops, before it turns up. In fact, what he can do is micro backwards, micro towards the Spore Crawler. There we go. Base is resistant to Void Rays now. The question is, given that he's now got the capacity to take out this for starters, why isn't he taking his natural? What's in his natural? What has he got that you know... Oh, there's some vulnerable overlords right there. Needs to float them back towards the spore crawlers. And of course bring a queen up. That'll do some nice tasty damage to that void ray. Given that it's not fully charged, probably can't afford to take the risk at this point. Oh, the overlords in the middle are going to die slowly and painfully, but at this point there's not much point in trying to save them. They're only going to allow your opponent to charge up his void rays more. Not that it matters to Zerg, he can just make a bunch more, but it will cost him in terms of lava. It will cause him a lot of pain later on. Actually, how many spores does he have? That's probably a few too many at this point, but hey, it's all good. Oh, get the roaches out of there. They can actually run fast enough to escape. No, he's wasting the roaches. He's wasting the roaches, but he's not supply blocked at all. If he goes down and with this force of roaches here and clears out his natural, he can get himself a third base up really, really quickly, and he needs to do something in order to check this aggression, because his opponent is just macroing up behind this. And if he doesn't do something about it soon, Protoss is just going to build up a death ball and just go kill him. I mean, ground attacks level 1 is virtually finished. Another spore crawler going down. Where the hell's that going down? I imagine that was another one back at his main. Oh, no, 3 void rays. 2 queens. No spore crawlers though, because... Oh, 3 queens. Transfuse, transfuse. Nope, no transfuses for you. He really needs to back those queens up. Back the queens up. Back the queens up into the range of the spore crawlers. If you back them up into the range of the spore crawlers can help you. But unfortunately at the moment, spores are in just the wrong place and won't be able to help you at all. And the queen is going to die because there's not a lot she can do other than die right now. That spore is going to fall down before it can root, which is slightly unfortunate. He needed to have them in slightly better positions anyway, and that also the second one's going to fall immediately. Then none of them are going to be able to root hard enough. This is far too many drones wasted on spores at this point. What's he turning these into? Another 10 drones being made. He's going to kill the hell out of this hatch. There is nothing can save this hatch now. The only thing that Zerg has left is death, I think. I don't think Zerg can come back from this. I have a feeling this is now over. The overwhelming power of charged void rays. In fact, he doesn't even need to engage those spore crawlers now. He can just go into the main and target down, say, that Evo chamber. He's actually probably going to also go across here and see these overlords and kill them really hard. Oh no, Protoss pulling back when he doesn't need to. He could go in for the kill, but he doesn't necessarily know that. Protoss actually pushing out and taking himself a third. Oh, and the Nidus is going to die before it's made. Unfortunately, if you do that in Protoss's sight... In fact, is there anywhere in Protoss's space which doesn't have vision of? I don't think he can actually do it. I think he's going to need at least one more of those before he even tries that trick again. And he's not going to get a chance to because that Overseer is going to die. Oh dear. Oh well. See, at this point, I think the fact that he hasn't taken his natural is really going to count against Zerg because he needs that base advantage. And at the moment, he doesn't have it. His opponent has not fully saturated 3 bases, but he's mostly doing it. He's getting the gas at his third. The thing is, I don't think it's going to matter. I think this army is just going to walk over the Zerg base and kill it outright. He's certainly not going to be able to do much with those spore crawlers, given that they're off creep now. And thus their lives are going to turn into a living hell for about a few seconds. Bit of BM from Savo, but Tordir showing his mana and moving forward. I'm actually quite surprised that Savo hasn't just GG'd at this point because he is dead. Stalkers don't have blink yet, but at this point they don't really need it. He's got the ability to maneuver everything that Zerg has around with the force fields. He's got blink on the way, and while he's got a bunch of lings, they're not going to do an awful lot. And Savo GG's. You know what? That was a good start. There were some clear points where you knew where... right.
Just so you know,
We've got our next game. Okay, so Tordir advances through to the next round. Okay. Next cast will be Great Paz Kingdom, if Kingdom is around.
how do I do this right?
Oh, I cannot type with fingers like this. Oh god, why?
You get a little tiny bit more unique dialogue if you've already completed Mass Effect. No,
Tryon informs me that Lotny did in fact succeed.
it's not a big... It's the one that glitches out though.
Yeah.
What day of the week
Let's see if we can get in touch with Kingdom.
You have to the apartment.
Yeah,
Stop.
Tuesday.
Turn back. You know that message on the right that led down to where the plague was? Just before the door at the end of that.
Okay, so that missed call that just showed up was from Tuesday, and it was her attempt to get in contact with me to tell me where she was for the briefing before I was on duty. Why it decided to show up now, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was feeling guilty about it.
Might do best to... Sorry, just filling people in on what the...
Oh, there is as well.
Assuming that Kingdom responds.
Like matchmakers are only the side matchmakers should be.
Okay, I'm just going to let people in the chat know that Lotney... Right, what we'll do is we'll go for ourselves another map on Daybreak. Right. On Daybreak again. We'll go with Daybreak because why not? It works. Right. Right, we're going to create a game instead of joining it because I learned my lesson from last time, which is not a good thing to have happen. We're going to create a game on Daybreak Leather Edition. And once we're in here, make myself a referee, because that way I can talk to that player base. Great Powers versus Kingdom. Let's get Kingdom in. Both invited. Right, looks like this might be a quick turnaround. Not sure what to do.
Look really good on Jacob's stubble on the definition. I did really see it.
Right. Best of one for this one. Okay, we're going to start the game. Great Paz apparently asking his opponent to go CC first so he can successfully 6-pool him. You know what? Kind of worries me that I actually had to think about whether or not he'd actually do that.
You're not supposed to see those here.
Ah.
Where's that here?
That's faintly worrying.
Must be mine.
Right, sound is good apparently. Right, we're going to go for ourselves a ZVT on Daybreak. Should be an entertaining match if we can get it done. Right, so, you know the drill. In the top right on Daybreak, Great Paz. Not good Paz, not average Paz, Great Paz. Representing the Zerg race, with all of their little minions. And in the bottom left, Kingdom, our Terran player, representing the interests of humanity in this contest.
I'll let her take out Mara.
Yeah, at this point, again, it's that standard thing. Probably going to see the Terran wall himself in, because honestly you're playing against Zerg and the chances of a something pool is obviously too high. And I'm actually at this point, I'm actually kind of expecting some kind of non-cheese out of Great Paz, or I'm kind of expecting some kind of standard build. Probably, I like to think that he's going to go hatch before pool, just on the off chance. But I guess we'll see how it goes. Building himself Dem Lava, the wall in proceeding nicely, because hey, you can. Going to have that requisite 80 minerals at the end of the supply depot, which means you only need to wait a little while to build that barracks. right in the middle. It actually favours Terran, I think, the fact that he started on this side of the map, down here, as opposed to up here, because if he'd started up here, he would have needed to lift up in order to wall himself in with an add-on. Whereas down here, the bulk of the barracks does the job for you and is thus a lot more durable against things like, I don't know, attacks by anything at all.
I would probably call it fun.
Let's pull up dem names. We have ourselves a Terran Scout. He saw the natural. He knows it's there. He knows the timings if he's really good. And he's going to go around the back of Zerg's base and see that Zerg has precisely 0 gas income and no intention of getting some. He also knows that his opponent's gone hatch before pool. Boom! The Zerg drone wandering out into the map, trying to see what's going on, trying to see... And actually, this one, a clever move by the Zerg, by the Zerg player, which means he can actually see the back of his mineral line. You know how that went last time. Ah, yeah. No, this is the overlay that you're seeing, by the way, is a generic overlay. I do have a friend who's apparently working on one, and he's given me an overlay, but it doesn't quite fit, unless you can see through bits of it, and it's like, vexing. But we'll see what we can do. So, Great Paz spotting that his opponent's walled in, which unfortunately all you can see is Zerg, really. If you get there after like 2 minutes 20, your opponent's walled in. Pool's down. We're waiting for the factory play coming out from Great Paz. Sorry, from Kingdom. Presumably he's going to do that standard Hellion harassment. And then I'm anticipating him going mech at this point.
I'm looking at the
He's still got the capacity to run around his opponent's base and see what he has, so he now knows he's got gas, and knows that he's mined just over 100 gas. That's enough for Zergling speed. The question is, why is he still getting it? At this point, all signs point to Banelings. It would be a deeply unpleasant way to win. The question is, can he get out? It's either going to be Banelings or I suspect Roaches. The question is, will he be able to get out enough stuff to push that back? If the Hellions can take map control, they can do some serious damage to any Banelings that come in, especially because once they're off creep, and they don't have centrifugal hooks, they're not very quick. Terran floating up a few minerals, hasn't expanded. I'm expecting him to start basically churning out Hellions instead of expanding, and he'll expand quite late. Which, against the Zerg player, if the Zerg player knows you're not doing that, if the Zerg player knows you're not expanding, presumably they're just going to bunker up and try and stay alive, and then when your attack is defeated, just, you know, expand a bunch. He's got the minerals to expand to a third base. The question is he going to do it? Oh, and Zerg sees the Hellions. He knows what's incoming. He's building himself Spine Crawler in his natural, which should do something to ameliorate the damage, but unfortunately, he's still probably going to lose a couple of drones if this goes well for Kingdom. Going for a wall-in with the Evo Chambers, thus making his opponent's job that little bit more difficult. He can still get past them, to be sure, and he'll probably do his damnedest to do it, but actually what would be interesting at this point is if his Kingdom went down and scouted to see his opponent didn't have a third, because at that point it makes a difference to a Zerg. Just having the number of bases on your opponent, because if your Zerg doesn't have third, then you really need to be, you know, take your second. Oh, Evo Chambers finishing up, and actually he's going to do stuff with those Evo Chambers, which is always a good thing to have, you know. It's a shame to have those sorts of tech buildings and not use them for anything at all. But it is going to be quite some time before those attacks mean anything at all. Oh, a third Evo Chamber going down. That's an interesting wall-off technique. That's quite a lot of Evo Chambers. That said, the Hellion attack isn't massive at this point, and he is putting down Banshee, which will be interesting if the Zerg can't get any spores up in time, because if the Cloak Current turns up, which it will, he could take a lot of damage from that Banshee. It's going to be interesting to see how he does it. Ling's moving out to get roasted alive, and they probably will. They don't take anything out and lose a couple of Zerglings. Again, not a massive loss because they are, after all, only Zerglings, but it's still lava that you could have spent on drones. It's still lava that would otherwise have been turned into, I don't know, spore crawlers to protect you against the Banshee that's coming in. And actually, yeah, no, Terran has a fairly sizable contain here at this point. He knows, he's going to know when his opponent does pretty much anything, unless he moves a little bit too far back, and thus can't see anything going out here. There we go. Banshee's going to go in and get spotted immediately. Oh my god, a Zerg meching? Shocking. Oh, and the Queen goes down. But the Banshee has been spotted, so the spores have gone down now. And he's going to sit there and take out... Oh, he's going to take out the wrong thing. He should be really going after that Spore Crawler because it'll make his cloak useless. He's going to be able to take that spine relatively easily, and if he's going to do some more damage... Oh, he's manoeuvred backwards. The Zergling's taking some hits instead of the Spore Crawler. The Spore Crawler is going to be a lot more damaging, though, because it's going to take that Banshee out straight away. The Hellions are going to come in and try and do some damage, but unfortunately there's a single Roach there, which oftentimes does kill 5... No, it doesn't kill 5 Hellions. I don't think so. At this point, our Terran player doing what you'd expect, getting scouted, and the fact that he's getting siege tech and tanks. The Hellions trying to push in again. Oh, Spore Crawler needs to move forward. Spore Crawler not in quite the right place. Spore Crawler should be rooting now. If the Banshee had any sense, it would go after the Spore Crawler, but it doesn't. However, it's not like they can actually shoot it. Oh, wait, yep, there we go. Shooting, shooting. In comes the Banshee right into the range of that Spore Crawler. Only a couple of Roaches needed to cover that entrance, and Terran isn't able to push in far enough to do any serious damage. Actually, the spine adding to the wall and will make his life a little bit easier. We've got ourselves Grand Carapace level 2 coming up. The siege tank number's not massive at this point. He's making more Banshees, which at this point is of questionable use because his opponent's spored everything up. He is also building a Spire, which means if he can get Overseers, which can, I think, keep up with Banshees, then he can do some horrible things to his opponent. In terms of sort of map control, I think Zerg still needs to get that map control, or possibly a third base, because you can't really be going equal bases against the Terran. It doesn't go well. Although, I have to admit, this right here is very telling. Oh, hello. A Banshee coming in from the back. Spore Crawler rooting itself in the ground. Queen chases the Banshee away without much loss. How many workers we had killed? 7 workers killed by the Terran. Again, it's not a massive amount. Great Paz is still massively in the lead in terms of supply. And the Overseer is going to go out there and see exactly where those Hellions are. They're not doing an awful lot at the moment. 3 Mutalisks coming out, which will cause all sorts of headaches. 3 already on the map. They're going to sweep in and kill pretty much, like, at least 2 of those Hellions. He has, however, seen the fact that his opponent has Mutalisks, or at least if he has any sense, he will do. Oh, the Banshee's going to try and take out some of those Roaches, and it will do an awful lot of damage, but the Hellions are going to get cleaned up, and the Banshee is going to die to Mutalisk harassment. At this point, it is looking an awful lot like Terran. Both of them need to spend some of that bank. How many lava does Zerg have? He has 10 lava. He could spend a lot of bank there. He's got +1. Not going for +2 just yet. Guess we'll see what happens when that goes. He's got his third base coming down finally, though. And he's got that clutch placement for the Overlord, which something really needs to be done about Overlords that are here. Terran needs to go and just kill the Overlord in this place every time they play Zerg, because there is always an Overlord there. It is literally completely pointless for your opponent to not have that. No turrets have gone down in the main, despite the fact that he's seen those Mutalisks. And if they just sweep in now, they will kill him really hard, because he doesn't actually have much that shoots air. In terms of anti-air units, Terran's got a Marine. He's got a Marine. He can do stuff. Cancelling 1 upgrade. Doesn't cancel it. Needs to cancel this one before the armory gets taken out, because, oh, a single Thor pops, finally coming out to the aid of his buddies. And he's probably just going to lose that Thor, because unfortunately for him, the Mutalisks are magic boxing around him, and the burst damage from the Mutas is just too unpleasant. At this point, if he can take out the factory, which is making making tanks. Why is it making tanks? Oh, good game. And we are out of there. Great Paz moving through to the next round. Right. Because I couldn't get a person in to play Harbinger, he gets through on a bye. So. Right. By the way, if anybody watching in the stream does actually want to be in this in future, let me know. We'll try and run this again, and if we can make it smoother, more efficient, better, faster, harder, stronger, harder, better, faster, stronger. That's the way it goes. We're going to be best of 3 in this one. Right. I'll make that custom map. Make it, not join it. I'm being begged for not Daybreak. Wow. Some old map. Is Steps of War even in this? Apparently people are suggesting maps. Right. I'm going to pick from the ladder pool. And okay, we're not going to go with Steps of War because apparently the rush distance is 20 seconds and it might be a little bit broken. Yeah. Apparently there is incoming food. Ah. Let's see. We'll go veto on this one. Okay, so I'm going to look for Ladder Edition. Make my life a little bit easier when working out what's not being in this. Oh, and apparently Battle.net's decided it hates me. Okay, so far we've had Cloud Kingdom, sorry, we've had Daybreak and Tal'Darim. Oh, god damn it. Okay, we're hopefully going to get... Okay, so Tal'Darim, Antigua, Shakuras out, Entombed out, Condemned Ridge, and Cloud Kingdom. So Ohana. Okay. Make myself a referee, and we'll invite Great Paz and Lotney. And thus, we can almost start with the first of the semis. Great Paz versus Lotney. Apparently, at least one of them massively sleep deprived, so this should be a fascinating match. Lotney appears to be ready. Oh, sorry, Great Paz appears to be ready. Lotney, you there? Lotney being a gentleman and not watching the stream while he's playing. Cool. Boom, let's go into this. This will be the first of a best of 3. Loser picks the next map. Oh dear, Great Paz saying he's just turned the stream on. I suspect he hasn't, but really. Great Paz. Come on. Right. We have ourselves some classic fun TVZ on Ohana, which, as we all know, means family. Damn it. And we start off with Control ND, which tells us everything we need to know. Except we're going to use... Okay, we've got weird colours on this one. I was hoping it'd be red versus blue again, but no. In the top left, we have ourselves a Zergy Great Paz, representing the Swarm with honour and dignity and all that jazz. In the bottom right, spawning the opposite position, is Lotney. His Terran skills put to the test. What will he do? Oh damn. Gold or higher by New Year? That's a terrifying concept. Right. From what we're seeing here, we're seeing the standard Terran opener. Again, he's slightly fortunate in as much as he's spawned on the location that doesn't require him to lift his base up in order to wall himself in. And he's doing the scout about when we'd expect. Again, I'm suspecting we're not going to see a massive cheese out of our Zerg player, so he's probably going to put down a pool and or hatch now. There comes that pool. Apparently he's going pool before hatch. So we're going to see at least 2 games. Pencils flying everywhere. The Terran player actually going to get a decent scout on his opponent and know that his opponent is not expanding, which is going to worry him slightly. He's got enough minerals. Oh no, he hasn't got enough minerals to expand again. He's going to need to get up into that base and see that timing on that spawning pool, because if he doesn't, he may be caught out. He's going to see it though fairly soon. He knows exactly how long it's got left to build, and he's going to see that his opponent is mining. Well, he's going on for 100 gas. Hasn't quite got 100 gas yet. Terran has not, however, walled himself in, which is something of a mystery, given that he doesn't quite have enough minerals to expand yet. And he's building an engineering bay. Is he going to planetary fortress rush him or something? Oh no, he's building it up in his opponent's natural just to block him in. And will also be quite useful because he'd be able to cancel that for no real cost. At the cost of, well, stopping his opponent from expanding. Which is always a fun thing to do to Zerg, especially when you can put your own expo down. And okay, Zerg's going to totally see it. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. The 2 lings that are out will reveal themselves onto the Terran, but not actually attack his natural blocking eBay. Maybe they're going to come back and do it in a second. A couple of lings rallied across the map. He's going to need to do a couple of things now. He's going to need to get more Marines, because oh my god, that's going to be a bit painful if he doesn't. 4 lings streaming across the map now. 2 Marines versus 2 Zerglings. I think we know how this ends. Unless there's some serious micro going down, it's going to end badly for the Terran. And he's going to get a surround on both of the Marines if he's quick. No, oh, no, yep. In goes 1 Zergling dies. 1 Marine dies. 1 Marine versus 1 Zergling never ends well for the Zergling unless micro happens. Micro battles. Yes. Oh, I've got dinner.
You are very lucky. Tom was about to give away your food and forget that you were here.
Horrifying.
But it's okay. I remembered because I'm amazing.
You are pretty damn good. Micro that Marine. That 1 Marine. Will it be able to get into the? Well, it'll be able to get into the bunker. Will it be able to save anything else? Christ only knows. Sure isn't going to be able to save that expo. The expo is going to finish, and there are now lings in your main. You'll be able to lift that expo off now. Why is he turning it into an orbital now? I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, it's a good idea in the grand scheme of things, but surely the Zerglings can just come down and murder it now. Oh no, the Zerglings are going to leave that base, with the Zergling speed finishing just as they leave. Terran player really needs to wall himself in at this point, because he knows his opponent has Zerglings, and he knows if he doesn't do something about it, it's going to get very bloody very quickly. All the Zerglings attacking that engineering bay, which will not get cancelled. Oh no! Could have saved himself a lot of pain by walling his ass in. That mule is going to die. He is starting to do the wall in, I suspect, unless he's very, very lucky and Great Pass doesn't push right now. It's not going to be enough, and it's not going to be fast enough. Nope, in come the Zerglings. He needs to get more stuff down in that natural. He needs to get stuff down there right now. It's too late. Oh, wait, no. He's going for a Baneling Bust. Which at this point, I don't think that Lotny actually has the forces to resist. Unless he's somehow seen it happening. Nope, he's just suspicious as hell. And has walled himself in with a Rax and a supply depot which isn't down there. We go. It'll be interesting to see how this stands up to the Banelings that are about to hit his front. He doesn't have stim, I don't believe. Nope. Oh, in comes Zergling. Baneling streaming into the base. Going to take out a lot of stuff. All the Marines and sweep on in to take out some of those SCVs. Single Marine trying to get... Nope, no Marines. Only thing in there, only thing in that bunker is... Oh, the wall is uncompleted. There we go. Hellions about to come out and ruin the Zerg's day, but until they do, that bunker is going to take damage and die, and then the SCVs within are just going to run around until they get killed by Zerglings. Oh, he's taken out that Baneling most cost efficiently. Question is, where are these Hellions rallied to, and what are they going to do when they get there? Chances are they're going to take some damage and die, but they will probably clear up this attack before they do. Oh, a Marauder comes out, securing the front of his base. Behind this, Zerg's expanded again. Because he knows his opponent's pinned in and not likely to do anything, and doesn't have map control because he didn't have Hellions until just now. He's been able to establish that third, and quite frankly, he should be able to defend it relatively easily against just that. Bunker finally going back up in the natural of the Terran. He's going to be able to saturate slowly over time, but he really needs to wall himself in fully if he wants to take advantage of the fact that Zerglings don't have guns. Actually, Spinecrawler... Oh, Hellions revealing themselves unto the Zerg by killing off his lava, which actually is a nasty thing to do. 1 lava dead. A couple of Zerglings being made, they'll make it through. There's no way those Hellions are burning through those those eggs in time, because eggs are really tough. Zerglings come out to take on the Hellions. If he can micro them correctly, which he can, he'll be able to take out those Zerglings relatively quickly, and then sweep up into his opponent's natural expansion and take on all sorts of fun things, including that Queen. Unfortunately, the Zerglings aren't going to do an awful lot, and they're just going to die. They'll take some hit points off the Hellion there, and possibly kill... Nope, not kill it quite. He does, however, have the Zerg pinned on the back foot because he can't send Lings out unless he gets an overwhelming number. That said, he could just make the 4 roaches he's making and go and do it anyway. The wall-in proceeding nicely for our Terran player, pulling those Hellions back, presumably to repair them. Yep, down come some workers. Oh, and they're going straight for them. Oh, there we go. Straight out to repair all of the things. More Hellions coming out. He should really be trying to switch into tanks at this point, because if he doesn't, his opponent is just going to mass stuff and kill him. In the Zerg main, we're seeing a lot of nice saturation. Maybe not so nice on this base, because he's not actually mining gas from the 2 extractors that he's got right here. Most we're putting that down to... Oh, the roach is revealed. Unfortunately, 1 roach will oftentimes die to this many Hellions. And some Marines and Marauder backup just in case. Zerg's response to this is going to be very telling, because he now knows that there's a big force barreling down on his base. It's enough to do a significant amount of damage with some SCVs along to repair, which he's presumably going to have to target down first if he actually wants to take out the Hellions. But unfortunately that does mean that this base is dead. And actually, if he's unlucky, those Overlords will also die, which may put him in some supply issues, not now, but potentially later. That base is going to go down. If the Marines have any sense, they'll move after the OVs, but I think the OV's going to get away. Yep, one of them may go now. Possibly gonna... Is he gonna... Yeah, he's gonna get away, and if the Marines don't micro correctly, they're gonna die. The base has been taken down. The tiny little broodlings on the inside doing their thing. Turns out, however, a couple of spine crawlers that were up to no good started making trouble in his neighborhood. He got in one little fight and ran the hell away because, oh my god, spines. Like, seriously, let's see what he saw. What did he see? All the spine crawlers, and he hadn't even seen all of them. Thing is, Marine Hellion Elevator is hilarious fun. Especially when the Zerglings mass up like that and then attack you. Oh well. He moved out. Minimal losses. Massive spine crawler wall on the front of that base there. That's not very... Well, it's not very mineral efficient, certainly. But never mind. It's not like he's not swimming in minerals. Terran, on the other hand, does have a bit of expanding bank. Needs to find somewhere spending all of that money. Zerg going for the ups, which will make a big difference in the infestation pit, which frankly could win him the whole thing. Got people in the chat begging the Terran to drop his opponent's main. For the moment, he's just going to check out that creep spread is receding, and also potentially get a nice flank on. There's a lot of spine crawlers here. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of having spine crawlers in your base, but this is possibly a bit too much. Also, this medevac is still half full. Drop that shit. Drop them everywhere. Oh! Roaches coming down to fight off the Hellions and actually doing quite a good job of it. 1 Hellion goes down in exchange, probably for a Roach, but possibly not. Oh my god, Zerglings. The problem with Zerglings is if you attack Hellions head on, you line them up. And you know what Hellions love? Lining them up. Oh dear. So, those poking heads. Actually, I have to admit, when I first saw the spine crawlers, one of the first things I thought was, wait a minute, weren't they in Half-Life? You remember the level. Where you have to sneak past the damn things because they can hear you. You know. Though apparently they don't have detection, because if you're quiet, they don't spot you. But yeah, you know, you have to turn the engine on and fry them from underneath, which meant you had to activate a valve and a gearbox. Oh, I see what you did there. Anyway, centrifugal hooks coming up, which means that banelings are still in the offing. Pathogen glands coming down. Siege tech for the Terran, which means he's going to be investing in tanks, which is a good thing to do against Zerg, especially if they mass everything. Another bunch of barracks coming down. He's still not got some add-ons on some of these. He could probably do with some more reactors. Just get that stuff out. And build more medevacs. That said, with that many Hellions, he could probably do without. 6 Infestors coming down for our Zerg player, which are all going to have just enough energy for 1 fungal from the second they pop, which is going to be hilarious fun. He's got a small attack force looking like it wants to build up, and I'm actually surprised. I would have thought that at this point Zerg would want to maximise his creep spread. because that way anything that Terran does, he does on creep, or he doesn't do it at all. But hey, Zerglings and Roaches going to intercept that force of Hellions and do horrifying damage to them. Oh, no, if they can get this around, which they can't. Keeping that creep spread down. Let's get rid of that tab, because at this point what we want to see is what happens when Hellions meet Infestors. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion what happens is fungal growth, Zerglings, dead. Because it turns out when Zerglings get us around, they hurt people. Again, it looking like Zerg just has a lot of stuff. Hellions going down there. Trees on fire. Didn't know they did that, actually. That's quite cool. A single Zergling and 2 Roaches to watch that tower, and another base going down. Again, earlier on I believe it was mentioned that this base is actually relatively hard to hold as Zerg, because unless you go for mass air, it's a long-ass way around. As opposed to this base, which is right next to this one, when you might already have an army. So I'm not sure what I think about that expo over there. Terran, however, has seen it, and it looks like he wants to go and kill it. Going to take out a couple of free Roaches. And Zerg's going to respond by moving his army into position to, oh my god, Banelings. There's just a few of those coming down. Not many, you understand. Terran, however, probably hasn't seen that, doesn't have great vision at the moment, doesn't know what his opponent... Oh, the scan goes down, reveals all the Banelings in the world. And those Marines and Marauders are dead. Will they even get away to get killed by Banelings? Oh no. Tanks sieging up in the back. However, it is a lonely tank. 2 lonely tanks need to get... Oh, the Zerg maneuvering around when he could have taken at least 1 tank by sitting next to it and just getting shot. Terran player deciding he wants to move up and take that watchtower. He's now going to attack at the Infestors. Will he be able to take some of them out? Yes, he takes an Infestor. He loses a bunch of stuff for it, but actually that's not a bad idea. Just taking your opponent's Infestors, making sure he wastes all that energy. I mean, Christ, look at that. There's like 9 Infestors there. And if you get medevacs are full, oh, he needs to use those medevacs somehow. Those Marauders going in the wrong direction. They need saving from themselves. But no, they're going to try and take out that base and fail because there's not enough of them. It does, however, mean that Terran knows exactly where all of his opponent's army is. And if only he'd done something like move more stuff up, I guess. This isn't going to be very cost efficient for the Terran, and I think he may actually lose... He may, in fact, transition into losing his entire army. Banelings and infested Terrans coming down all over the place, fungal growths cleaning it up, and the infested Terrans chasing away the medevacs, which run for cover, because honestly they've got no guns, they've just got the heal ray. And the infested Terrans will wander around until they finally die. Terran has his 4th base up, and it is a planetary because it's actually, again, hard to defend that base. And he looks like he's expecting either he's going to need the detection or he's looking for mutas. I suspect detection at this point because he knows his opponent has Infestors. That's a big-ass army. In fact, let's have a quick look. Army supply. Actually, army supply not too uneven. And surprisingly enough, Terran has, I believe, the edge in economy. Nope. He's clearly not doing quite as efficiently as his opponent. He is getting all the stuff. I mean, he's getting like weapon upgrades, armor upgrades. The question is, will it be enough to beat the fact that his opponent has Infestors? We have ourselves people wanting to play from the chat. Don't worry, we'll get to you as soon as we can. Zerg expanding to a 5th base. Because you know what? At this point, Terran doesn't have the forces to stop him doing it. That Marine will be able to sit there and plink away at that all day, and he will be able to send his entire forces of Lings against it. Probably unnecessarily, but there we go. There's no such thing as underkill in this game. Again, it's looking an awful lot like Terran's making that mistake that people make by letting Zerg macro. If you're not harassing, Zerg is just going to build up a million things, and then go to some kind of really annoying Broodlord Infestor combo, which, given that he's getting himself a Spire at this point, if his opponent can't beat away a few Mutalisks, yeah, he should already have won. So, I'm reckoning he's getting enough gas up to go for, given that he's got 1800 gas, he's going for Broodlords. Unless he really wants to go for a million Banelings for no apparent reason. We'll see. But I suspect Broodlords. Terran needs to siege up his tanks. Having tanks is good. Having sieged up tanks means that they do 41 damage versus non-armoured instead of 19. You know how it is. And instead of 31 versus armoured, they do 60. Siege it up! His opponent only knew... Ah, and he appears to be moving. Those medevacs probably could have used a heal before he sent them out, but we'll see what happens. He might be able to engage a bunch of workers which have only just been sent across. It will have to be interesting to see whether Zerg goes for a counter-attack, given that he's now wasting his fire on eggs because he A-moved and didn't do anything interesting with it. Zerg's going to attack his opponent's base, which is not built yet, forcing him to lift. The Lings and Blings moving down into the range of that planetary fortress, actually, which will do quite a lot of damage if it can actually target things, but unfortunately, see ya later. The Terran now looking at increasingly like he's in some kind of terrifying base race. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have anything in that bunker. And his Zergy opponent moving down to take on the planetary in the bottom left. If he can just keep that planetary alive, he can probably weather this. He needs to attack his opponent now while his infestors are entirely vulnerable. Oh my god, what a terrible move for Zerg. He fungals, but it's probably not going to be enough. If his opponent can just get within range and take out more of those infestors, all he needs is a couple of hit points on a marine to kill an infestor with it. And those Zerglings are not going to do an awful lot. He's getting some good fungals, but the infestors are not going to be able to finish the deal. They're not going to be able to seal the deal, and the tanks are going to be able to get up into the natural. He's taking on the Zerglings. They're not able to get us around. He does have 2 weapons, but the Zerglings... I can't actually see what weapons the Zerglings have because they're all dead. A single infested Terran not going to do a great deal at this point. Tanks in the natural. Marauders in the natural. He should really siege up. Sieging up is good. Sieging up is your friend. Sieging up stops the Zerglings from doing this to you. But Ultralisk coming out to save the day. Hero Ultralisk. Going to provide a bit of a bulwark against the Terran aggression. He's moving up a bunch of Marine Marauder tank. But unfortunately, he's having to lift, having to move back. Get the hell out of there before your opponent brings out any kind of air attacks at all. Zerg going for melee attacks level 3, which means he's going to have 3-3 before his opponent does. In fact, he's going to have 3-3 quite a long time before his opponent does, because while he's gone for the attack upgrades, he hasn't got armor. Probably a telling mistake, and he's going to have to rectify that fairly quickly. He does, however, have maxed out tanks, and he will have massive damage on those Marines and Marauders. Unfortunately, because he let the Zerg macro, Zerg is building up a bunch of infestorling. Could turn into very unpleasantness, and you know what? Those tanks aren't sieged up. A stim? He's stimming Marauders up into his opponent's 4th. Reasoning, I think, that if you can get them there and do a massive amount of damage, then he might be able to take out his opponent's 4th. Unfortunately, that's a lot of Lings. That's a whole lot of Lings. Pick them up. See you later. Get out. Great Pass showing his power of macro. Actually, at this point, it does look bad for Great Pass because he is 40 supply, 30. I can't do math. I can't brain. Nearly 40 supply behind. However, he does have the Zerg capacity to produce, and he's going for there. We go there, the Corruptors. At some point, hopefully, we'll see. Well, actually, armor upgrades from our Terran, which is a shocking but good twist. Yeah, it's looking an awful lot like Zerg is going to be able to get to that Broodlord Infestor combo, which so often wins because it's actually broken as hell as far as I'm concerned. Actually, no, to be fair, if you can micro it well and also use a lot of Ravens. Let's actually have a quick look at army supply. Terran actually has a much bigger army in terms of actual units, but if his opponent is able to use those infestors well, that's not going to make much difference. And the fact that siege tanks are a siege unit, but so are Broodlords, and they have a longer range. I believe, anyway. Fairly certain they do. Yeah, range 9.5 compared to the siege tanks. 7. Well, they're probably bigger when they're sieged up. A drop by Terran, cleaned up by Zerg, because it turns out infestors allow you to pin things in place. It is, however, a good cover for Terran to move up and maybe empty out all of his medevacs, because there's a Marauder in there. It's one of them things, it happens. Oh, massive shots coming down from the Terran, ensuring that Zerg stays back while he goes and attacks the guy's base over in this corner. Oh, he should have taken the Queen before he left. The tanks are now completely vulnerable though, and the Zerglings and the infested Terrans are moving in to try and take them out. The infested Terrans will spawn just in time to die. And the Broodlords have made themselves revealed, but unfortunately, unless he can do something about the Marines, which, yep, fungal growth's coming in from all sides. Hellions, not much use against them, against the Broodlords. Marauders, not much use against the Broodlords. And unfortunately, it's looking an awful lot like Terran's attack has been completely thwarted. He's having to run for the hills. He's going to get some consolation drone kills, but at this point, Zerg can afford them. Zerg can afford to throw a few drones away if it means his opponent doesn't get anywhere at all. And there's a single siege tank lined up there waiting to get killed by, well, Banelings. Which are 3/3 Banelings and thus do 7 damage a hit. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how many attacks around they have, because they're dead. Terran's looking very battered actually here. He probably needs to get some, ideally at this point he'd want to get some SCVs out here just to repair things. I mean, he's got a good economy. He's got, in terms of income, he's below his opponent, but not by a massive amount. The main problem he has is the fact that he's again he's been forced into letting his opponent macro. And if his opponent can macro, his opponent can build another 16 lanes and 2 more infestors, which will cause him problems. But we'll see what happens in the near future. I suspect it will turn out bloody, and this base here could be very important if Terran can take it. Unfortunately, oh, those Marines are going to die. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll get some free infestor kills. Nope, there come the fungals. There come the roaches. There come the lings. Goodbye. At this point, again, it's sort of... my instinct is Zerg is in the lead, because while he's got Vikings, his opponent has Corruptors, his opponent has fungal growth, and he's only got 4 Vikings. But how many Corruptors does his opponent have? 3 Corruptors versus 4 Vikings? Actually, no, that could be a lot closer than it could be. Bunch of Banelings morphing in. What they're for is presumably knocking down this planetary. But his opponent, he can just hit it with Broodlings. So presumably the Banelings are for some kind of landmine technology attack. Working on his opponent coming up this way. Oh, he's coming around the back to take out the infestors before they can do any serious damage. And it's going to be interesting to see how he sieges up his tanks. He's not sieging up his tanks at all. He's just going to go for this planetary and kill it. And then turn the Broodlords around, sending in Baneling after Baneling, wave after wave of men at their disposal. And the infestors, having done their infested Terran magic, move back and leave the siege tanks exposed to pretty much everything his opponent has. If he can keep out of range of those Thors they won't be able to do an awful lot. They are, however, doing some serious damage with the splash to the Broodlords. The infested Terrans coming in to try and take some of them out, but it's looking like the Thors might actually make the difference. The Vikings coming in to sweep up behind the Broods, taking them down. See ya later, Zerg. And Terran suddenly has a massive mech army in the middle of the map doing very little. Planetary Fortress here to stop any little Ling run by, so it's going to have to be a big Ling run by if you want to do any serious damage. Which he does. He's sending in a massive force of Lings, but he's sending them in piecemeal. And his opponent should really be repairing that fortress. Oh, he's getting into the holes. He's getting surrounded. He can't repair it because the Zerglings are everywhere. The mech army, however, has decided it's had enough of your bullshit and is moving up the map. In terms of what's being made, only Zerg's really making anything at this point. It's possibly because Terran doesn't have much to mine from at this point, given that his natural main are mined out and his 4th doesn't have any workers on it, and that needs repairs. Or he could just go and kill him. Yep, the Baneling's going to morph in and then roll away on their tiny little wheels. I'm just imagining the Banelings in that car with, you know. Anyway, we see ourselves in engagement. Lings versus Thors. And Great Paz GG's. Lotney wins. So, Great Paz getting to pick second map. A good game by all. Team 1, Lotney 1. Great Paz now going to pick the map he wants, and while he's doing that, I'm going to eat a potato or two. Because honestly, while I'm waiting for someone to pick a map, Great Paz, in his infinite wisdom, is letting me choose. Let's see. Create a game on the ladder. Okay. We'll pick the first one I found, which is Cloud Kingdom. Make myself a referee, and then we get Great Paz in. Let him see what he has wrought. Right, everyone's invited. Right, everyone ready? If everybody's ready nice and quick, we can get into this, get it done, and then get on to the other side, where Tordir faces Harbinger, to see who faces the winner of this match in the finals. Bam! Let's get started. And while it's loading, sausage munching. So, what are we expecting out of this map? Again, probably expecting... I'm imagining the Terran's going to go mech again because you're playing against Zerg. It's kind of important. Looking at the map, however, in the top right, on Cloud Kingdom, is Great Pass. Freshly stinging from reeling slightly from his defeat in the last one. Sausage munching indeed. And in the bottom left, his opponent, fresh from his victory in the last match, Lotney. Interesting feature of this, you can actually wall yourself in as a Terran without having to lift your buildings up, which is something that I like, because you can actually build the add-on underneath here. But hey, all good. Lotney doing the standard opener, rallying his ninth worker out to that place to build, and oh, he's building a supply depot there. Fair enough, so he's not going to try and wall himself in that way. Great Paz, on the other hand, presumably just going for... Man, you may think you play really bad, but we think you're amazing. Great Power's presumably going to go for Dat 14 Expo again. Again, I think what we're probably going to end up seeing is Hellions. Zerg having to react to that by building roaches and possibly some spines in front of his natural. And then we'll see where we go from there. Again, part of me is expecting Infestor Tech versus Mech. I guess it'll depend entirely on what happens with the gas from the start. Terran doesn't have any gas yet, but then it's unlikely he would do just yet. Building himself Dat racks. Zerg, on the other hand, looks like he's going for an Expo before Pool. Yep, because he's got enough minerals to do it. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't know that his opponent is sitting there blocking him off. So he's going to have to chase that worker away before he gets to build the hatch. Oh! He chases, and then the Terran gets a free scout of his opponent's poolless main. The question is he going to be able to take advantage of that? Or is he going to be able to just wander around aimlessly going, I don't know what to do now. Pool goes down on 16. Was it 17? I don't remember. Terran deciding because his opponent's going to fast expand, he might as well do the same. It is going to take him a little bit longer because he does need to get up dem minerals, but again, this is quite a fast expansion from the Terran player. I'm going to put it down before 320, I imagine. There we go. And then presumably the next thing to go down will be a bunker somewhere around here, just to protect his main. Either that or a supply depot in this hole to make sure that if he does cock this up, his opponent doesn't... Oh. Just realised I didn't have the build tab open. Getting himself a marine out, his opponent will scout the fact that he has, a natural and a marine, which tells him quite a lot. And if he micros that marine well, that worker is not going to make it out. Oh, by the skin of its mandibles, I guess. At this point, part of me is expecting Terran to throw down a bunker just as a security measure. Zerg pulling out the queens, because hey, queens are good. Putting in Dat Clutch Overlord, because you know what, it's really useful to be able to see A, when your opponent takes that gas, and B, when your opponent sends anything out this way. I mean, in theory, you could send stuff out via his third if he's feeling particularly paranoid and try to sneak it past. Or he could just make a Viking and clear the Overlord out. Like, damn, I hate it when there's always an Overlord there. Spine Crawler going down at the front. I'm guessing it's because he's expecting Hellions. And you know what? His opponent is getting double gas. First one already done. About 100 gas mined from it, so we're hopefully going to see a factory in the none too distant future. He has the minerals. He has the minerals to build a bunch of things, actually. So I guess we'll see what happens. Factory coming down over here. Right next to where presumably the reactor will soon be added on, as soon as he has the gas for it. Hence presumably why he's going for that second gas geyser, which only has one guy in it. Oh well. Oh, Zerg expanding for a third, which should be entertaining if you can keep it there. Because ideally, as far as I'm aware, that's what you want as Zerg. You want to have at least one more base than your opponent. Unless your opponent is Zerg, in which case you just want to build a million bases. The Marines actually going to go for some pressure. Should be entertaining. They're going to check out the watchtower, see there's nobody there. His opponent is, however, going to have seen that coming and is therefore building a sextet of Marines to help him out. So a sextet of Zerglings to go and kill those Marines, rather. And he does have one of the drop paths, potential drop paths covered over here. Will he do the same? Yep, he's pulling another one out there. Down here to spot any awkward sneakiness. His opponent, again, one of those weirdnesses of this map, it's actually easier to see the watchtower from your side than your opponent, so it's a very defensive thing. 6 Lings wandering forward, going to find 3 Marines in a bunker. Will they actually stop? Will they go back? Will they run straight past it and go and take out some workers, and thus making themselves cost efficient? In terms of worker supply, actually, in terms of... nobody's killed anything. In terms of worker supply, actually Great Paz has an advantage, but again, as you'd kind of expect that. You know, you would expect, because of the way they can build them that fast. Hellions looking like they might want to do some pokage. His opponent will have seen him because of the Clutch Overlord. Vexing. 1 Ling dies to reveal something that Great Paz already knew. However, what he is going to be able to do is, when he sees the other two Hellions that presumably are being built now head out, he might be able to do a run by. The problem is if he goes in now, he's going to lose a bunch of them to the bunker, and then the Hellions will finish the job. And if they don't, the SCVs will kill him. Yep, there we go. Deadlings to... Okay, he got some scouting information. He knows that his opponent has gas that is natural, but it's not great for him. And while he now knows his opponent has Hellions, it was kind of a done deal. His opponent was going to get Hellions in the first place. That's why he made the Spinecrawler here. Not that it's going to help if he just sweeps up and goes after the main. He is, however, going to try and take out the Queen at the third, and if he can get that Spinecrawler before it builds, nah, not a chance. He is, however, going to kill the workers, and then run away before the Spinecrawler kills them all. Again, Zerg, it's that Overlord right there. Tells him so much useful stuff. Terran putting down a third, bunkering up just to make sure that nobody kills him instantly. The Hellions coming back to base for presumably a repair and a refuel, and thus there should be workers heading out to see them shortly. Zerg, however, is going for Spire play. It's always entertaining, especially because your opponent doesn't see it coming and thus doesn't build the turrets or the Marines. It's also a slight problem if you're going mech, because it means he doesn't have that many Marines. He's got 5 Marines to take down, I don't know how many Mutalisks, it depends how many he makes. At the moment we're looking at 5, possibly 6. Depends on his gas income. It is not inconsiderable at this point. He's got himself some centrifugal hooks coming down for them Banelings, but he's not extending the creep, which actually is interesting to me, because I would have thought that what he'd really want to do is make sure he can connect these bases up and roll Banelings between them. But we'll see what happens. 7 Mutalisks on the way from our Zerg player. Question is, where are they rallied? Has he rallied them? Oh, he's rallied them to his own natural rather than just sticking them above his opponent's base. His opponent, however, senses this coming because he hasn't seen much in the way of Zerglings, he hasn't seen anything in the way of roaches, so he's just going to build a bunch of turrets everywhere. In fact, there's one there, protecting all of this. The only thing that's undefended, I think, is absolutely nothing at all. Okay, it's a lot of investment in turrets, but it might pay dividends when his opponent tries to sweep him with them muters. Again, he's getting into his opponent's lines, taking out a bunch of drones, stopping the mining at the very least. Doesn't matter if he loses them all, as long as he stops an equivalent amount of mining and kills an equivalent amount of drones. And now he knows what his opponent has, and he knows that his choice to go anti-muter, stick turrets down everywhere, always a good thing to have. Blue Flame pre-igniter coming up for the Hellions, which will be great fun. In fact, literally the only thing that Terran can do to make himself any safer is to kill this thing! It's got vision on his base, man. It's twisting his melon, man. Zerg having a lot of gas. Presumably needs to up his mineral income to compensate. And has therefore decided to go for upgrades of all kinds. And taking that 4th base, which at this point he's fairly certain he can defend because his opponent doesn't have the capacity to attack it. Where is Muters at the moment? Oh, Mutalisks getting torn apart by turrets. Not good for them at all. Realising, oh, The mules! The mules! Put them back to work, Lotney! Put them back to work, or they're just going to die to no purpose, and then your opponent will essentially have made back the cost of the Mutalisks by your not mining. Dear Lord. Mutalisks, however, wisely deciding to back off. Unless you can get a massive number of them, it probably isn't worth it, and he's investing all of his money in lings. Apparently he thinks that ling stock is rising. And shit, with that many lings, it might just. If we look at the front here, I have a sneaking suspicion if those tanks siege up, this could turn into a very bloody engagement for Zerg, especially because he's going to find them Hellions, and the Hellions are going to reveal the fact that they have Blue Flame now. Oh, except they're not bothering, they're just going for the fourth. Blue Flame, how are you doing? Baiting in the lings. Far fewer attacks to kill them, however, there's not that many of them left. Hellions dropping fairly cost efficiently, I imagine, but again, not fabulously, and a whole host of lings. At this point, if those tanks aren't sieged up, Terran deserves to die at this point, because he knows his opponent has a bajillion lings and he isn't sieging up the siege tanks. Oh, I'm going to munch some sausage about that. The Zerglings wandering around, I say wandering, streaming around in a torrent to attack his opponent's third, presumably? Oh, no, he's just going to make 1.5 full tabs. So that'd be 8 times 4 is 32, 34, 36, 38, 39 banelings to go and kill lots of things with. In fact, this base is guaranteed dead at this point. He's going to attack his front with all the lings that God ever made. I think he might actually be able to win with this ling push. His opponent hasn't put down enough tanks in the right places. And that base just died. The banelings rolled in while the Zerglings attacked the front and did everything they needed to do. Pathogen glands coming down for the infestors, which will inevitably follow, but this is a large army coming out for the Terran. I think he's been stung and wants blood. His army supply, oh, he's finally killing off that overlord. Yes, this is what we want.
Oh, brilliant.
Zerg making himself some ling infester. Unfortunately for him at this point, I don't know how much good it's going to do him, because his opponent does have a lot of stuff and some quite useful SCVs along to repair everything. Presumably they've got... Oh, no, they're not auto-repaired, but hey, that's fine. Live with that. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Does the Raven have the Hunter-Seeker missile? No, it doesn't. It'd be really useful to have that right now, given that you can do massive damage to everything the Zerg has. Tanks maneuvering. Thor's going up into the main. Taking out those rocks. Yeah, suck it, rocks. The Zerglings attacking into tank fire. It's not going to be good for them, but the infested Terrans are probably going to take out these Thors. Roaches and Lings coming in from the back and taking out very little in the way of tanks. It might still be enough, though, given that the front's been crushed in by infested Terrans. And the tanks, while they're going to do brutal damage, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, looks like he might have held them off for now and be able to push up into his opponent's natural. And this is where we see the joy of SCVs. Because he has SCVs and they appear to be repairing everything, Terran's going to be fine to push on and attack, even though he's about to get attacked by lings everywhere. Oh no! So many lings streaming in at once. If he had the Hellions in the right place, they might be able to do more, but unfortunately he's attacking everything his opponent has, and that Thor is not going to make it at home. Austrian Death Machine he may be. Immortal. Immortality Protocol? He doesn't have one. Massive lings. This is the terrifying thing about Zerg, is if they can get surrounds on you with Ling Infester, and this isn't even with, you know, Broodlords or anything like that. He's just got Ling Infester at this point. He's managed to push Terran back and keep him back. And the fact that the Raven isn't doing an awful lot other than granting sight. I mean, I suppose if he had burrowed the Infestors, then maybe, but at the moment he's not bothering. Terran taking himself a fourth.
I have no idea if this is a good idea.
Zerg actually has no idea, does he? Nope, he doesn't. Well, he knows his opponent has the third because he just took the damn thing out, and he knows he's going to rebuild it. That turret going to rebuild itself. I say rebuild itself. Be rebuilt. Terran going through a consolidation of power. Presumably going to repair all of his things. Get a medevac or two out just to heal them up. Putting himself down a planetary at his fourth base. And building a whole bunch of stuff. Tunneling claws coming up for the Zerg, but unfortunately for him, his opponent still has a Raven, which will be able to detect the fact that there are things underground, and then they will take horrifying damage. Not that it matters that much. He doesn't have... Well, he has a fresh bunch of roaches. I suspect the infestors will do more damage, though, if they can get all sorts of fun things off. More tanks coming up. More tanks coming up.
Wow. It had to pan out.
Right? Sorry, getting distracted by Mass Effect in the other corner. It's going to be fun if we get a game with Harbinger in it later. It's always a bit meta.
I loved her makeup.
At this point, Terran has a couple of Hellions. Scouting. Oh! With an attack by the... Oh! The Mutalisks might actually make their money back if they can take out the workers before they all die. The Viking taking out the Mutas. Not looking good for Captain Muta and his band, although, to be fair, at this point, Great Paz is just getting them killed to free up supply, and wasting his opponent's money. Although he might actually go after the worker instead of the armory, because at this point it's not serving any real purpose. Mutalisks die, freeing up 2 supply so that Zerg can macro harder, and build himself another bajillion banelings, which at this point could well just roll through the unsieged tank line of his opponent. Oh god. If your tanks aren't moving, they should really be sieged. Oh, Broodlord's coming down for the Zerg. We're going to be having more Broodlords coming in, I suspect, because this is Zerg, and Infestor Broodlord is awesome. He does, however, have the option of messing around with all of dem roaches and causing a bit of havoc. Expanding to another base in the top left. I believe on some versions of the map this used to be gold, didn't it? I'm trying to remember. But we'll see. Terran now, not on as many bases as Zerg, but then as Terran you can do that. Zerg trying to push with his roach force. The question is he going to actually sack the roaches and do, you know, as much damage as he can just with the roach ball? Or he's trying to micro his banelings out the front. That's how you do it. Ooh, where's the scan gone down? The scan's gone down precisely on top of the Zerg army. He knows that his opponent has Broodlords. He knows that his opponent has fully charged Infestors. Oh, that's going to be unpleasant for everyone concerned. You really should start investing in ghosts, because ghosts are funny as all hell, and will make relatively short work of an Infestor. I think it's like 3 snipes? I'm trying to remember the details. He is, however, starting to sack workers into spine crawlers, because what the hell else are you going to do with them? And also what you're going to do with the massive bank of 3,000 minerals. Freeing up that supply so that he can make more stuff. The Hellions are going to dash up here and are going to discover this base, which is a bit of a shame. Zerg can almost certainly defense it, to quote White Ra, but it may take a sizable chunk of damage on the interim. It's building a queen. Hellions spreading out to try and stop the inevitable counterattack, but unfortunately that's a lot of roach. Oh, baneling landmines, seeing where those Hellions are. Not going off now because they don't need to. And baneling landmines are hilarious when they work. We have ourselves... Zerg knows where his opponent's Hellions are, sending in the roaches. They'll be able to do some damage and take out a Hellion for virtually nothing. Some hit point damage, which frankly at this point, if he has the rapid regeneration while burrowed, he is however going to lose those roaches if he tries to walk them up there. The tanks aren't sieged up still. Why has he done this? Well, because he's decided to go for it. His opponent has seen him push and has taken some damage from banelings. Ooh. Oh, clutch scan by the Terran, who now knows exactly where his opponent's army is and is willing to deal with it later. Everyone seems to be going for this fourth. If he can do some baneling nasty... Oh, no, the banelings are all going to die because the Raven has been there to detect them. And that, my friends, is why you have Ravens. At this point, the siege tanks are going to stick themselves on that line and kill all the drones in the world. That's horrifying to see happen. The Vikings in the place to stop the Broodlords from doing any serious damage. Does he have... He still doesn't have that. Oh, Thor's coming in. Great Paz maybe about to GG. Shockingly. I should be terrified if he does. Nope. Tank sieging up on the 4th. Bam! See you later. Nothing's going to survive that tank fire except the things in the air. Which, frankly, they need Thors to kill them, and he's already got them. Starting to look like Great Paz's supply dwindling a little bit. The tank's moving up to try and get into range. The Infestors are potentially in place to fungal them and kill them all if he needs to siege them up now before the... Or just get them the hell out of there before the infested Terrans even spawn. Yep, just move away from the infested Terrans because mech is slow. Infested Terrans are slower. And also, you can do a lot of damage with infested Terrans. Why is he staying there? Move away. Just move off. So much energy wasted from those infestors if you just move away from the... Why even go that way? Just go up into your opponent's natural. Oh well. That tank is going to die because... Oh, no. The infested Terrans die at exactly the right moment. At this point, Terran could just pull a bunch of SCVs up, repair the hell out of everything he has, and just go kill him. He's up by 40 supply at this point in the game, and his opponent doesn't have that much in the way of mining. Oh, killing out that PDD, which actually made such a difference in the battle against the drones. Thor's coming down to wreak havoc on the air units again. They won't be able to do much to the Broodlords because he hasn't got Viking support the way he used to. Ooh, this army is very clumped. The Thors, if they can just get repairs. Oh man. Nope, he's having to pull back because Broodlords are slow. And that's one sacrificial Hellion. Scanning to see where the infestors are. Not that much in the way of fungals on them now, is there? But he doesn't really need it if he can just keep his opponent on the run with this attack. If you can get a bunch of Vikings out, that would be a really good idea at this point. The Vikings, however, need to come out in groups, not individually, and that is a bunch of dead Corruptors if they're not careful. The Thor's splash damage doing so much, and if he could only get some SCVs out there to repair those Thors, he'd be absolutely fine. But nope. PDDs taking down so much enemy fire. Really love them PDDs. Two Vikings coming in from the back, and they're probably not going to do an awful lot before they get shot dead. The Terran's army is actually manoeuvring right the way back to his fourth. Question is, what's he trying to do here? Because he knows his opponent's just going to chase him. If he needs to pull workers, he needs to pull workers right now. Like right now, pull the workers and stick them behind the Thors before they die. If he can just do that, he makes his life so much easier. The Thor's going to go down to the splash, to the relentless pounding from the Broodlords. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough workers defending it to really do anything, and the tanks are less than useless at this point. If he could come in with some kind of massive punch of Vikings, then maybe he could save this, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Lotny is about to lose. Great Paz is about to take this one. Unless he can pull something out, which could be the Thors coming in from behind and taking the infestors unpleasantly. Unfortunately, they're still too close to the Broodlords, and the infested Terrans will almost certainly finish them off. He might be able to do some serious damage to the Broods themselves. If he can focus them down, then everything else can be taken later, but he really does need those Broodlords dead, and he doesn't get it. Great Paz may have pulled this one back. He's now assaulting his opponent's base with basically 3 units. Unless the Terran can match his building, which he can't. Terran's income basically reduced to nothing at all. In fact, let's actually look at his income. Yeah, Terran's income not what it should be. The roaches having killed everything down here. It's looking an awful lot like there's not a lot that Terran can do at this point, other than die a slow and painful death, because literally all his opponent needs to do at this point is macro up. And his workers are not repairing that planetary fast enough. GG, Lotny leaves the game. Apologies for dinner, I'm really, really hungry. Oh, Tortoise disappeared. Right, Trion's out of there. Right. Lotny getting to pick the next map. And I think he actually might pick it himself this time rather than just letting me choose one and just going with that.
30,000, that's not bad. Credits are fairly hard to come by in this one.
I've been buying everything I can find. I'm trying to think if there's like more shops that I don't know of.
We'll be able to work on the structure of this in future, I think, because there are some edges I think we can file off. But that's fine. Is Lotny still with us? Yeah, Lotny's still with us.
There's the market, there's the Oriental shop, and there's the alcohol place.
Yeah.
Is that it?
what's terrifying is that Tordy has disappeared.
Yeah, I've bought everything I can buy.
Yeah, cool. Do you want me to check out packages for Ish on the wiki?
That would be nice,
The tablet.
yeah. I'm gonna go get Miranda and Jacob anyway.
Okay, it's just a little thing.
We'll get Lotney to tell us what he wants out of his last map. Entombed Valley.
Mass Effect Galaxy, the game.
Right.
Very little.
We're going to have the last game on Entombed.
But Ish was in it, and he, if I remember right, double-crossed Miranda and Jacob.
It sounds like an outside.
I believe that's on the ladder still. If it's not, somebody can correct me. I'm sure it'll be fine. And we're going for 1v1, not 2v2. Make myself a referee. Invite. Invite Great Paz and invite Lotney.
Right. So Slarian business and main Ish need packages. Packages in the Arab shop. Almost is built an alternative. Right, yeah. Talk to it.
For those of you who are wondering, currently we've been doing this for about 2 hours.
You bring the package to Ish.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this may be drawing to a close relatively soon because Tordir appears to have disappeared.
In over his head, the 40 XP credits, no morality points, and the mission stays open in the journal. Or you can package to answer.
So if Tordir doesn't come back, then we'll see whether Harbinger even wants to do this because he'd basically gotten a bye all the way to the finals.
Plus 5 Paragon or Renegade points. Extort money for
Try-on's off. See you,
Paragon,
Tryon.
Renegade points,
Thanks for
and
watching.
Experience and credits. In either case, no one will ever hear from Ish ever again if the missions turn into answer. Should you choose the middle option of take care of Ish, Shepard will simply suggest that Anto will clean up the mess by killing Ish, which Anto does. And if Jacob's in the squad, he finds Shepard's choice to be harsh, though he still sees Ish deserves such an action. If Miranda's in the squad, she'll say that that's...
Alright. Just waiting, I think, on Great Paz, who's asked for a second. At this point, anyone who's in the chat, feel free to chime in with what you think is going to happen in the next match. Be interesting to see what people say. Although at this point, the only people in the chat are actually in this game. Oh no, Harbinger's in there. Let me know what you think, Harbinger. See if you're there. Right. Well, there's a lot of people. See, it's always weird when I see people I know that are online, but they're playing WoW instead. Oh well.
So,
Right, we're still waiting on Great Paz, I think.
Great.
Close down all these random windows.
there was an asteroid mining colony. It's sort of been built out of the hollow remains of the asteroid.
Well, you can tell it's got later turned on the street in Castelia City. I mean,
Right. At this point, part of me is tempted to say next time I do this, and to fill the spaces in between, should probably get someone in, like, I don't know, we'll probably try Harbinger at this point. And just to get sort of commentary on what just happened in the last game. But I guess we'll see what happens.
God damn it, if this is a
Oh,
problem.
hello. Skype's poking me, what the hell's that all about?
Yeah, almost as bad as
Something that was said actually quite some time ago.
This is a fucking...
About an hour and a half ago. What I'm thinking at this point we'll do is that once we get through this tournament, and we probably are going to get to it relatively soon, because Tordir hasn't come back. Silly Tordir. What we'll do is we'll end up with some random silly cheese matches, like mandatory cheese, like Thou Shalt Six Pool. Or see if we can get 2 people to 3 racks each other. Proxy 3 racks each other.
Discourage people from drinking and driving, and they've written drinking and driving causes a 100% increase in Zubat.
Actually,
Don't drink and drive.
see how far we can stretch that. Get them to build as many racks as they can before they're discovered, and then just mass Marines and go kill them. Either that, or we'll just say, let's have the Void Ray Wars. One of the two.
It's a mini new.
And for those of you irritated by my eating food, done now.
God damn it.
Oh,
Rather, it's not actually a nuke, but people
right.
describe it as one.
Looks like we're ready to go. So we're going to hear that beeping that signifies the fact that somebody's ready to start a game. Are you? We're going for our TVZ. Bam. This one I really need to get on Huxley about the overlay because he said he was going to fix. He did actually make me one, and it's just wrong, so he's going to fix that. And then hopefully I can have a slightly more interesting overlay than the one I currently have. Right. So it actually makes a difference where we check where people are now, because this is a 4-player map. In the top right, Great Paz has spawned, and he's immediately sending out one of his overlords to check where his opponent is. In the bottom right, his opponent is actually not where his scouting overlord is going. But I'm almost certain that the second one will end up going roughly in that direction anyway. Again, slightly standard opener. Bring up the name tab. We're seeing the standard worker building thing that everyone seems to do at the beginning of games. 9th worker being rallied out to sit on that choke and build things on it. And again, Terran's slightly fortunate in as much as whatever he builds here, he can stick add-ons on it over here, and he doesn't have to lift up to wall in, which is really, really annoying when Zerglings are running up your ramp. I mean, you could not build the add-on. Like, you know, not get stim or whatever. I'm sure that'll be fine. Yeah. So, the Zerg actually sending his overlord cross-map. Right, oh no, sending it out to his natural expansion to check for any incoming nasty, or in fact a worker, which is what he's going to get, but not for a little while. Actually, this is one of those maps I think where there are no rules, as far as I'm aware, about there are no rules about where you can spawn. You can spawn in any of the 4 locations, as opposed to some maps where you can't spawn close by ground. But there isn't really a close by ground location on this one. Terran, stand walling himself in. Lotney, now knowing that his opponent isn't there, going to go straight across map and get to there just in time to discover that his opponent has a natural down, but no pool. Ah, some mana from our players, because we're good people, really. The pool going down on 15 supply.
Damn face, man.
Oh, Skype is... Why is Skype? Why am I looking at Skype? What's in Skype that I need to know about?
I think we ought to do no pants dance. Think it was
Right, okay, that's what that. Sorry. I thought you were talking about an actual dance. I was like, what's the standard?
Interesting. Right, I'll bear that in mind for next match. So, Terran player, mostly just building dam upgrades. His opponent's pool about to be finished, and he probably doesn't need to know that. Actually, no, he's scouted it, so he does know.
Organic matter, toxic to humans.
Oh, he's seeing a whole bunch of workers transferring. I'm assuming they're going to go straight down to his opponent's natural. There we go. In fact, what's the Terran seen at this point? What can he see? When he knows where his opponent's base is,
kind of why I need to do that next.
and then he knows he's probably safe to put down that natural.
Because otherwise
Um,
you won't get your safe sex advice.
He is getting himself... He's not actually building any Marines. Does he have any Marines? He has 2. Again, it's not great. But hey, we'll see what happens. Let's see. And building himself...
That's almost as bad as
Oh, yep, down comes the defensive bunker right in the front of his base. Building himself an orbital in his natural.
And nobody's ever given.
More SCVs. Again, it's sort of... It's one of those phases where you're not entirely certain what your opponent is doing, but hey...
Actually spar. I'll spar as in have sex.
You get spar with Vega in
There's
3.
an overlord over here.
And he's played
What are we doing over there? Anyway, the natural of the Zerg potentially quite nicely working out for him there.
There's no way I can.
And he's building himself that factory. Because of course he's going to be going for... oh, sorry. Sorry, just checking what Harbinger's saying in the chat. He's going to be going for that Hellion Harass, as is so standard for Terrans. Sticking... Actually, it's interesting. He's done that a couple of times now. He's only put 3 Marines in that bunker. Which is... I'm wondering if it's just not worth putting a 4th one in there, whether it makes any difference. I don't know. We'll see. Factory going to end up on that. Assuming he doesn't stop it dropping, it's going to land on the reactor and immediately start building 2 Hellions. He knows he's building a 3rd command center, so presumably he's going to expand. Ooh, that's a bit of a greedy play. Presumably he's going to expand to this base here, but... Oh, Ling's coming up into the base to see what he's got. And actually getting a complete scout. That's not fabulous. Getting a complete scout. Wowzer. That's a hell of a Ling. Having to pull all of his Marines out of that bunker. Putting himself down some factory engineering bay blocking in material, which is always fun. And deciding he wants to go and take that center. The Hellions moving up, going to attack his opponent. What will he find when he gets there? Who knows? Oh, well, he's checked for the 3rd and there's nothing down there. The creep tumors going down everywhere. All dat creep. But no, Terran sensibly deciding he's going to retreat back to his own base. Cancelling a creep tumor, but not getting to do more than one because the queens are there to intervene, and also because the creep tumors can cloak themselves after a while. Terran, again, changing over his add-ons, gonna make himself some Banshee. 3cc build. Okay. Yep, we saw the 3rd CC go down, so presumably he's... The 3rd CC is the anti-Zerg build, isn't it? It's meant to be good against... Basically giving yourself a massive macro advantage as fast as you can. I think there was a variation on it, I think that Griffith came up with, which is 4 orbitals, which, if it works well, works really, really well, and if it doesn't, then you die. Like, really early on. Like, ridiculously early on. Because you're spending so much minerals on... What the hell is this cable? Ooh, didn't want to touch that. You're spending so many minerals on... oh, hello, bit of an engagement coming up. The Hellion's getting surrounded slightly. He's going to lose some, but not enough to make it cost efficient for the Zerglings. Oh, no, there goes another one. In terms of units lost, a win for the Terran, I guess. But his opponent is now spreading creep literally everywhere. He's getting himself tanks, he's getting himself siege. And also chasing away the Overseer, which will literally see everything he has in his base, as well as getting killed by that turret. Boom! Ourselves. With Zerg, again, he's got some good macro going on. He's got himself a nice little wall in. I think Terran's already seen that wall in. Oh no. He hasn't actually seen it at all. Oh well. Tanks now coming and breaking down some more rocks into the natural. Thus potentially opening himself up to counter run bys, but never mind. Creep spreading way across the map with some Lings sitting on it for fun profit. Banshee coming out for our Terran player, which is... This is going to be the interesting play. The question is, what's he going to be able to do with those 2 Banshees? What's he actually going to be able to achieve with them? I mean, his opponent is... His opponent's building a bunch of stuff. In terms of, like... what am I looking at? In terms of income, actually the Terran is winning. He's doing better in terms of basically sort of just the amount of money he has. And while his opponent is on more bases, he doesn't have the saturation yet. Oh no, Terran's got a 3rd going down. There it is. And he really hates those rocks. But then I suppose it does make it easy to access that base.
Horrible.
Okay. Okay. It's actually a formidable front from our Terran player. The Banshee is moving out. Oh, a little bit of a swing in from the The Zerg player taking out a few SCVs, taking out an add-on. Unless he cancels that add-on, he's going to lose the money you invested in it, and he's going to lose that tank as well. One free tank. Couple of Mutalisks, take some damage. No more gas mining from this place. Unless he brings something up to defend it, like that Thor. The Thor can almost certainly do the job, but the Mutalisks will take their leave and run like hell. That is, however, going to affect his gas income quite significantly. Especially because he now has to leave that Thor there in case the damn things come back. Creep spreading vastly across the map. Terran actually pinned... Oddly enough, Terran pinned into his base by the fact that his opponent has these things. As soon as he builds the turrets up, he should be able to move away, you know, and move the Thor out again. But until he builds that static defense, until he builds a lot of defenses, he really needs to have... He really needs to build himself some static defenses to basically fend off the attack that he knows is going to be coming back. Building himself another command center by the bottom base. Tank siege up to defend it. Bit of a hole that the Mutalisks will exploit because unfortunately for him that XCV is very small. One tank goes down for virtually nothing. Bam! See you later. Losing a tank. Losing a Mutalisk. And he can just hold position over that now until the Thor turns up to try and do something about it. Mutalisks leave. Mutalisks thoroughly leave. They're going to die if they don't get out of there. Again, he's very close to losing that SCV. It would have been a bit of a pain to just have to replace that orbital, but hey, he's doing a decent job of macroing. Walling himself from supply depots up here. We have ourselves a bit of a turtling situation from the Terran here. I suspect what he's going to end up doing is going for a massive macro play and then, yeah, and then just pushing out and going and killing his opponent, taking out an advance with the Hellions, streaming their way across the map, hoping that they can take on something of their opponent. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of roach there, and he's not going to be able to do an awful lot to it. He's going to need some tanks before he can make an indent on that. Let's see.
Where are you going now?
Oh, yep. He's got himself a couple of Ravens. Actually, the question is, has he got... Yes, he's got Hunter Seeker Missile. Oh, that's going to be good for him later on. We have ourselves another bunch of tanks coming down for the Terran player. Zerg healthily getting himself some ups. Obviously we can see what the upgrades are. Oh no, creep teams use building armor, don't they? Oh well. And he's looking for that base right there. That's pretty cool. That'll do him some favours later on. The Terran, does he know about... Ooh. There's a bit of a push coming from the north, but that should be... I don't know if it's enough. I don't think it's big enough that he can actually beat it back. The Terran has decided to move. The Terran has decided to push out. He's going to move into destroying a roach on his main, on the approach to his third. Oh, the roaches can be seen. The tanks have the ability to see because of the Ravens. And it's not doing much good for the Zerg player. But actually, in terms of supply, Zerg is actually ahead. And Terran looks like he's just going to go for it. It's going to be interesting to see how he pushes out, where he pushes out. Given that he's going to have to cross a lot of creep to get to his opponent's base. Like a whole soakload of creep. Where are you going? Where are you going, little Terran? Ah, he's moving to his planetary fortress in the bottom middle. Excellent work. Oh, we have ourselves a spare Hellion there, because this thing's making tanks, but I'm sure that Hellion will do something at some point in his life. I'm sure it'll be incredibly useful. Again, we're a bit of a static game at this point. Oh. Lotney destroying his own towers. Ah, moving them further out. Doesn't bode necessarily all that well if the Zerg can get something that can fly into his base, but never mind. He looks like he's pushing. He looks like he wants to go and have a bit of a fight. Possibly to stem this tide of this massive wave of creep that's coming further into his base with every second. Oh, he's pushing out. He's going to be able to take out those tumors as they spawn. And his opponent's going to move in with roaches before the tanks siege up. He's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage if he can get these roaches in. He's going to be able to take... Will they make themselves cost efficient? I don't know. Possibly. It looks like the tanks are unsieging and trying to retreat, but the roaches are going to do horrible damage to them while they're not sieged up. What the hell was that all about? I'm not entirely certain why he's unsieged at that point, because he does know his opponent can just re-macro behind this push and just go kill him. But I guess we'll see why. Question is, what can you see from here? You can see a queen. Queen's gonna die. Queen's gonna die. Yep, there they go. Nothing can save those two. Neither rain nor snow nor gloom of night's gonna save damn queens. However, roaches coming in. Oh my god, so many roaches. Is this Stefano style? Is that how this works? The tank's completely decimated. The only thing that Terran has now is his ability to, well, fall back, I guess. The massive roach attack coming in just at the right time to cause all sorts of hell for the Terran player. He's going to lose so many factories because while the Hunter-Seeker missiles are good, they're not quite good enough. And the roaches can move while underground and heal very, very quickly. In fact, it's entirely possible at this point he's just healed most of the damage he's just taken. One Thor coming out to try and defend the Terran's extra base, but unfortunately for him, not going to do much good. That Thor's going to die really quite fast, and if the Zerg can get himself a couple of air units at this point, he can probably take this match right now. His Thor's not going to be much good, not going to do him any favours at all. 1 Thor and 4 tanks on the make, but will it be enough to take down this many roaches? Like, oh my god. Add-ons being made by the Terran player. Clearly he thinks he's going to survive this. And he probably will, but he needs to not lose that planetary. He really needs to get that planetary to kill a bunch of stuff before it dies, and it may not be enough to take out everything, including all the roaches here. All those workers are in serious trouble now. That other base building itself into a planetary, but it's not getting repaired. A bunch of Corruptors come in, presumably to take on the Ravens, but if they're not careful, they're going to die to all sorts of Thor-related madness. There's Thors there, there's Thors in them, their hills. Hunter-Seeker missiles going into the Corruptors, the roaches taking on the tanks at close range. And if you can take out those Ravens, then the roaches can just burrow and not be seen, thus forcing Terran to get himself some ups. Nope. He's got himself a beat down on the Thors. In terms of losses, Terran currently, well, I say ahead, currently having lost a lot more than his opponent. Zerg, however, needs that ability to macro, needs the ability. I wonder how many units he's got right now. A whole bunch. He's got himself a bit of a fist going on. In terms of income, the Terran's a bit screwed because that was his main mining base. This mining base in the corner, having been spotted by that Mutalisk, will be able to do something about the gas mining, I suppose, at this base, by holding position there. The question is, will he be able to do anything meaningful before something comes over and kills that Mutalisk? He is, however, going to know that that's where his opponent's mining, and that is pretty much all his opponent's mining capacity right there. In terms of harvesters, the Zerg is currently ahead, but only by 4. Terran now, at least in army supply, slightly outnumbered. And Great Pow's going for a max out again. The turret's going to be built in time to chase that Mutalisk away, or just kill it, in fact. But he knows where his opponent is, he knows what his opponent has now in terms of mining capacity, and it's not much. Presumably at some point in the none-too-distant future we're going to see more attacks on this fourth base.
Yeah, and I say this as someone who regularly gets taken the piss out of by my dear husband for
right. Zerg doing what we'd expect at this point, building himself some upgrades, getting himself dem melee attacks. Presumably he's going to go for Zerglings in the none-too-distant. Pushing down onto the map, going for where he thinks his opponent is. The question is, will his opponent be able to react in time and do anything at all? Doesn't look like it. Oh, hello. A couple of workers going to see them roaches. But unfortunately it's not going to be in time to stop them getting in here and decimating one of his mining bases. Oh, this is bad because it could lead directly into his other mining base, and then Terran's income is basically sunk. Oh, no, he's pulling back. Presumably he's going to go and scout for more command centers. And he's going to find one, which will not finish. Because that worker is so dead. Terran's looking a little bit outnumbered at this point, given that he hasn't got as much income as his opponent by quite some way, and he's lost a whole bunch of harvesters. 37 workers killed by Zerg. Not looking good for the Terran player. Will he be able to macro his way back into this map? He's going to need to do some seriously good micro in order to get anything out of this. In terms of units, he's actually not got a bad composition. He's got like a bunch of tanks, a bunch of Thors, a single Raven which somehow either managed to survive the previous onslaught or has subsequently built. At this point, he looks like he's just going that standard Terran route of mass orbitals and then build a bunch of stuff. Nope, that base is down. Zerg looking like he wants to make sure his opponent doesn't expand to anywhere at all, which he can presumably do by going in there with an orbital and killing everything there, like those mules. Poor mules, poor mules. Actually, I'm surprised at this point. I would have kind of expected the Terran player to... Oh, hello! Moving at it exactly the wrong time there. Those roaches are going to be able to do some horrible damage if they can just get in range of the Thors and the siege tanks. Oh, they're actually getting past them. He's going straight up into his opponent's unprotected main. Oh, that's always a bad thing to see. Taking out some add-ons. See you later. No more tanks out of that building. Question is, will he be able to get those roaches out of there by just burrowing them for a second and walking away? Nope, because the turret is there. It is not great for the Terran. His base down here, which is turning into a planetary, which will die if it's not careful. It doesn't matter whether he takes all the stuff out. If it manages to set on fire, then it will burn to the ground and there is nothing that can be done. Oh no, he decided not to focus fire that. He decided to go after the tanks and the things instead, the tanks and the Hellions instead, having to send out more stuff, building himself another base. That base. Again, he's very clumped up. I think if his opponent goes and festers at this point, he's probably in a lot of trouble. One sec. Check why I'm being bothered in that. Let's see. Zerg massing up forces. Actually, in terms of supply, Great Paz is actually behind at this point. In terms of army supply, what have we got? We've got... It's mostly his advantage. He does have a smaller army. This could be a bad thing for him. Oh wait, no. The army supply for Great Paz is shooting up. Getting himself up to 198 supply total. And again, he knows what his opponent is doing because he has excellent vision. And at this point, I'm kind of expecting Terran to push out at some point, because if he doesn't push out soon, Zerg's just going to have such a big bank that there's not going to be anything you can do to stop him just remaxing immediately. And in terms of sort of building, he's building... Again, we're going for upgrades. But Terran still needs to push. Terran still needs to do something to break this, because if he doesn't, he's making that classic Terran mistake of letting his opponent macro. Okay, he's pushing out. His opponent knows where he is, clearly, because he's got sight over those creep tumors that are dying. And he's seen the wall of spine crawls. Oh my god, so many spines. But then again, this is late game TVZ, and you kind of expect that when you play against Zerg. The Thor's moving forwards into the spine crawler wall. And getting hits. The Corruptor's moving forward to try and protect the Broodlords behind. At this point, the Broodlings start to make themselves known, and friendly fire from the tanks is not the way you want to die.
Somebody help me remember this.
The wall of spines in the middle doing no favours to the Terran. He's going to have to go all the way around that as it moves forward. He is, however, showing his position to the Zerg player by, you know what, by getting him and killing his creep tumors. Problem is, they're basically free, so there's not a lot they can actually be useful for. He's getting himself a bunch of scans because he needs to know where his opponent is and if and when he's going to move in.
Right,
Terran needing to do something about it before his opponent does anything tricksy. Oh, he's going in for that fungal growths on a whole bunch of stuff, including a lot of Vikings. He cannot afford to lose those Vikings. If he loses control of the air, the Hunter-Seeker missile goes in. But unfortunately, Hunter-Seeker missiles can be dodged relatively easily. Vikings are still there. They're going to be taking some damage on the Broodlords. But at this point, Infested Terrans come down, and I think this might be the final battle. The Broodlings taking out Lotny. GG. Great Paz takes the series. You may have noticed I was focusing on the Terran a bit more than the Zerg in that game.
So,
Because I spotted that Lotny was sitting in my stream watching.
platinum,
Yeah.
50.
50, 15,
Oh well.
25.
Hopefully we can avoid that in future. I'll work out a way of putting a delay on the stream.
Iridium platinum blend.
Right, at the moment, Great Paz taketh the series, and at this point I think we might actually be done, because Tordy has just disappeared and not come back.
Yeah.
So Harbinger would naturally assume to the next round. At this point, it's starting to look an awful lot like, at this point, Great Paz basically takes the thing. Oh, hello. Get back to there. Fair enough. It's beginning to look an awful lot like Great Paz takes the series. Harbinger not feeling he's up for not feeling like he's up for more gaming, especially ZVZ. So he's pulling out. Great Paz takes the win. Kingdom is away. I'm actually going to close down a bunch of these windows.
Plenty of iridium.
Anyway. Right. Sabo is gone. Close down all of this because Pick, while he may still be there, is not talking to me. Tordy is gone. Great Paz Lotny. La 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 la. Okay. Looks like we've got enough. Well, looks like we've got ourselves enough for a mandatory cheese match. Which, to be fair, I will probably make a fairly quick one. Because I am operating on 4 hours sleep from last night due to congestion keeping me awake. Yeesh. That's fine though. Great Paz wants his cheese. In that case, cheese you want. MH Melonhead, welcome to the channel. Right. What cheese or what flavour? We'll decide ourselves the cheese match of what it's going to be consisting of. Have a quick cheese match.
There's your palladium.
Anything that hits pre 6 minutes.
Hourglass never will always make me think of that Pearl Jam album. Because I used that picture of it because
What do we reckon? Oh wow, that could be. Okay. It looks like we're going to go with a mandatory cheese match of Proxy 2 racks and Tal'Darim Malta. Oh, hello. A vast antivirus just died. What do we reckon? By the way, I have to give mad props to the guy who called himself Anubis, spelled N-O-O-B.
they start that.
Well, he goes by Anubis.
I think the best online name I've seen for a while was Sephiroth.
Oh, I am out of pro.
That sounds good. Okay, we're going to have a random cheese versus random cheese.
Okay, right, I'm coming back to Kenneth.
Yeah, Sephiroth was always.
Tal'Darim Malta. Okay, so to set up a custom game and make sure I create the game rather than joining the game, because you know what's really bad? Joining a game when you don't mean to. Already had to quit out on one person tonight. Tal'Darim Malta Ladder Edition. We have ourselves a 1v1, v1, 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 v1. Actually, that's a lie. Have ourselves a 1v1. That's Great Paz. Harbinger. Let's do this. And then my back is starting to hurt, so I'm going to have to go. Oh, by the way, Melon, I did tell him to go NA. I don't know if he's going to. This is where I hope that neither of those people is actually watching me in the stream, because that'd be really bad. Yeah, Harbinger. I'll mention it to Harbinger just to check. Oh, yep, no. Harbinger being mana has left my stream. We have ourselves a Tal'Darim Altar game. PvP, which generally means we're going to end up with a Protoss game, which is a 4-gate versus 4-gate. Or cannon rushing, one of the two. Bam! Good luck, have fun, from Great Paz. Starting in the bottom left. Shh. And his opponent in the top right. Proxy racks, man. There's the worst superhero ever. Let's see. We have ourselves a standard PvP setup. Pylons coming down, workers coming down practically in lockstep with each other. Great Paz being fractionally behind. Having a discussion about whether a 4-gate is cheese or not. The question is, does it involve cutting workers? The question is, what are we going to see in terms of cheese at this point? Are we going to see cannon rushing or proxy gates or... Actually, it'd be interesting to see who takes gas first, because that will tell us what we need to know about. Oh, looks like a gas going down for Great Paz. Harbinger not going gas, though. He is going to cannon rush his opponent, I'm pretty certain now. He's got a forge in his base, which Great Paz is about to see, because he knows his opponent doesn't have a natural. And his vision tells him, forge. Bam! Spotted. So what kind of cheese is he going to go for? He's going to see his opponent doesn't have gas. Harbinger looking at his base at the moment. We know this. Let's cancel that pylon there. Getting into his opponent's base and building himself a pylon there. If Great Paz has any sense, he'll devote his entire existence to killing that pylon. Four workers to kill a pylon, because that's all it takes. Oh wow. Photon cannons going down in the main. He is potentially going to be able to stop this if he attacks the pylon. Oh no. Attack it. Nope, Harbinger solidifying his position against the Zealot that's about to come out. And building everything he needs to. Gateway's not going to help Great Paz at this point because his opponent has cannons in his main. That said, the Zealot will do serious amounts of damage if he can make it worthwhile. Unfortunately, 4 cannons, 5 cannons. Not looking good for Great Paz. He may actually just die to this cannon rush. Yep. Thing is, there's only one pylon up currently. If he takes that pylon out, he wins. Or if he takes this pylon out, certainly. But he needs to not let that happen. Unfortunately, it's looking like the cannons are far too close to his base, and he won't be able to get anything out in terms of workers in order to escape and get anything done at all. Those gates, frighteningly vulnerable. Photon cannons around the side. Ain't nothing going to save them now. Oh no, that one gets cancelled. This photon cannon taking out a whole bunch of stuff, and Great Paz is pretty much screwed at this point. Having to relocate his entire base. He's got enough to rebuild, but I think it won't make any difference at this point. I think he's probably fucked. Oh no, he's got a single Zealot. The question is he just going to go and attack his enemy?
Oh my god. That's fantastic.
Is he just going to go and attack with what he has? That would be really quite funny if he did. Because at this point, he's got, you know, 2 Zealots. If he can take out 14... Oh, no. Ain't gonna happen. Photon cannons in the main. And Great Paz is home. Totally destroyed. Chrono Boost being spent on them, but unfortunately it's not going to do any good. Great Paz down to 15 minerals. If this expansion doesn't work, he's in a lot of trouble. Unfortunately for him, his opponent knows actually very little about him. And he's actually just going to all in. He knows his opponent exists. He knows his opponent has very little. Harbinger sees the attack coming. Knows that he's probably got enough cannons down to be able to deal with that. Cybercore coming down for Harbinger. Great Paz pushing in. Gonna sacrifice his men bravely. But unfortunately it's not going to make a jot of difference now. Oh, he's going to come in from behind the workers. He's actually able to do a damn thing to them. He's got enough minerals to... Oh, he's got enough workers to just take them out. Jesus. It's fairly terrifying. Cannons taking a little bit of damage there. Sticking it on that Zealot. The Zealot's the important bit. If he can take the Zealot, he kills his opponent outright. And Harbinger about to win this game against Great Paz, because Great Paz has precisely nothing. Well, he's got a base, I guess. I think we're done for now. It is getting quite late. I am very tired. Thank you all for watching. If people want to see more, this wasn't a standard Monday night. We did actually have a proper tournament, or at least part of it anyway. We'll try and find a way of streamlining that. I'll be talking to various people about that. If you've got any suggestions, novawolfen@gmail.com. Send me dem emails. If you want to take part in stuff on Monday nights, be in the Psionic Aftermath chat room at about 8 PM UK time, whatever that is relative to you. But yes, yeah, at this point we'll call the stream here. If people have any things they want from the stream, if people have any suggestions, or if people want to make me a better overlay, I think Huxley's meant to be doing it, but he hasn't quite finished it yet. And yeah, I think that'll do for now. Thank you for watching, and good night.